Hey, welcome back to Go English. I'm Mizu.
And I'm Lucas. And okay, I have to say this before we even start. Today's topic is one I get asked about all the time.
Oh, same. In the comments and DMs, everywhere. People always ask, Mizu, how do I stop translating in my head? How do I actually think in English?
And here's the thing. This is the question. Because once you start thinking in English, everything changes. You speak faster, you sound more natural, you stop freezing mid-sentence.
So today, that's what we're doing. We're going to talk about why your brain still translates, how to break that habit, and give you real tools you can use starting today, not tomorrow, today.
And before we dive in, if this kind of real, practical English learning is what you're here for, subscribe right now. Hit the bell. We drop a new episode every week. And honestly, we put a lot of love into each one.
Also, like this video and share it with someone who's been stuck in the translate then speak loop. You might just change how they learn English forever.
Okay, let's go. Mizu, so let's start here. Why does this happen? Why does the brain keep going back to the first language even when you've been studying English for years?
Okay, so think about how you learned your first language. You didn't study it, you lived it. Words meant things. A dog was an actual dog you could touch. Hot was the feeling of burning your finger on the stove.
Oh, wow, yeah. So the word and the experience were the same thing. There was no middleman.
Exactly. But then you start learning English. And how? Through translation. Your teacher says apple and writes your word for apple next to it. Your brain learns apple equals. So English becomes a code layered on top of your real language.
That is so accurate, like a secret decoder ring. You hear English, decode it into your language, think in your language, then re-encode it back to English to speak. That's exhausting.
And slow. That's why there's a delay. That's why you freeze. That's why you understand something, but by the time you've translated and formed a response, the moment has passed.
I remember when I was learning Spanish, someone asked me a simple question, and I just stood there, smiling, looking panicked, because my brain was so busy translating that it forgot to also produce words.
The panicked smile. We all know that. Every learner has had that exact moment.
So, the problem isn't your vocabulary. It's not even your grammar. It's the process, the two-step translate, then speak process. And that's what we want to rewire.
And the good news is your brain is incredibly adaptable. It can learn a new process. It just needs the right kind of practice. And that's exactly what we're getting into now.
Okay, Mizu, so what does it actually look like inside the brain of someone who thinks in English? Like, what's different about their process?
Okay, so imagine this. You walk into a coffee shop. A fluent English speaker doesn't think, I want coffee, now translate, okay, now say it. They just see the counter, the menu, and the word coffee floats up, naturally, directly.
Oh, the word is directly connected to the thing, not to another word in another language.
Exactly. And it's not just nouns. A fluent speaker hears the word exhausted, and they don't think that means very tired. They feel it. Heavy eyelids, can't think straight, that heaviness in your bones at the end of a long day.
Wow, that completely reframes it. So it's less about language and more about direct experience? Words as feelings and images, not as definitions.
Yes, that's the shift. From words to experience. And that's what we want to build, that direct connection. Like a bridge, but without a toll booth in the middle.
The toll booth in the middle. That's translation, and it slows everything down.
And here's another thing. Think about your inner voice. Right now, what language are you thinking in? For most learners, that little voice in your head is still in your native language, even when you're trying to speak English.
Oh, that's so real. Like you're at a dinner and someone asks you a question in English and your inner voice goes, and then you have to translate that into something you can say out loud.
Right. So the goal is to start gradually moving that inner voice into English. Not overnight, gradually. Start narrating little moments of your day in English, in your head, while you're making coffee, while you're in the shower.
Oh, and Mizu, this is something I actually did and it worked. I started just narrating what I was doing, like a very boring documentary about my own life. I am now opening the fridge. I do not know what I want. There is leftover pizza.
The leftover pizza documentary? But Lucas, that works because you're creating those direct brain pathways. Fridge, English word. Pizza, English thought. No translation needed.
So, start there. Narrate your morning routine in English in your head, just 5 minutes, every single day. It sounds silly, but it's genuinely one of the most powerful things you can do.
Okay, next big idea. And this one is something that changed how I teach. Lucas, when people translate, what do they usually translate? Word by word, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's why translations sound so stiff, because languages don't work word by word. They have rhythms, chunks, natural groupings.
Exactly. Native speakers don't think in individual words, they think in chunks, pre-packaged phrases that come out together as one unit. Like, by the way, I was wondering if, it turns out, to be honest, these aren't 4 words, they're one thought.
Oh, so instead of building a sentence brick by brick, I plus was plus wondering plus if plus you, a fluent speaker just pulls out the whole chunk. I was wondering if, ready to go.
Yes, and these chunks cover so many situations. What do you mean? That makes sense. I see what you mean. Let me think about that. Actually, now that you mention it, you hear these and your brain just loads the whole thing instantly.
So instead of someone asking you a question and you going through the full translate, think, translate process, you just recognize the situation, pull the chunk, and go. Like someone says, sorry I'm late, and you just have, no worries, ready to go.
Yes, and that's a chunk you don't think about. It's automatic. So the work is learn your chunks well. Don't just know what they mean, know them like a song, so well that they just come out.
So here's a tip for everyone. When you're listening to English, podcasts, shows, movies, don't listen for words. Listen for chunks. What phrases keep coming up? Grab them, use them, make them yours.
And don't just write them down. Say them out loud. Put them in a context. To be honest, say it until it feels weird not to say it. Let me think about that. Say it in front of the mirror, in the shower, while you're waiting for the bus.
The bus one is real. I used to do that. Just standing there quietly saying chunks to myself. People probably thought I was a bit strange, but my English got so much better.
Strange on the bus, fluent at the dinner table. Worth it. Absolutely worth it.
Okay, Mizu, so we know why it happens. We know what thinking in English actually looks like. Now, what do we do, like concretely, starting tomorrow morning?
Okay, 5 habits. Real ones, things that people who've cracked this actually do.
Love it. Let's go. Habit 1.
Habit 1, the morning narration. Every morning, just 5 minutes, narrate what you're doing in English, in your head. I'm making coffee, the water's almost boiling, I need to find my keys. Where are my keys? They're on the table. Of course they are. It's simple, it's free, and it builds the English thought connection every single day.
And what I love about this is you're not studying, you're just living your life, but in English. Your brain starts associating the real objects and actions with English words, not translated words, real direct connections.
Habit 2, talk to yourself in English, not just narrating, actually having little conversations with yourself. Should I watch another episode? Probably not, but maybe just one more? Okay, one more. Full English, all the time.
The just one more episode negotiation in English, that's relatable and powerful because you're thinking through a real decision in English. That's deep practice.
Habit 3. When you know you're about to have a conversation in English, don't rehearse in your native language. Rehearse in English. Even just a few seconds. Your brain warms up the English circuits before the conversation starts.
Oh, that's clever. Like a warm-up before a run. You're telling your brain, hey, we're switching modes. English mode. Go.
Habit 4. When you learn new vocabulary, don't just write the translation next to it. Write an image. Draw a small sketch. Write a sentence about a real memory. Connect the English word to a real experience, not to a word in your language.
Wow, that's such a different way to build a vocabulary. So instead of melancholy equals word in my language, it's melancholy equals that feeling on a rainy Sunday afternoon when you're looking out the window and you're not sad, but you're not happy either.
Lucas, that's exactly it. That is melancholy, and now you will never forget that word, because it's not a translation, it's an experience.
And habit 5, Mizu, I feel like this is the scary one.
Let me guess. Watch English without native language subtitles?
Yes, and I know, that feels terrifying. But here's why it matters. The moment you see a subtitle in your native language, your brain takes the easy route. It reads the translation. It stops trying to build English understanding. You're reading your language, not thinking in English.
Start with English subtitles. That's still pushing your brain to process English. Then gradually, content you've already seen before, an episode you know well. You're not lost because you know the story and your brain practices real English comprehension.
And each time you understand something without translating it, celebrate that. That's your brain working the way you want it to. That's the new pathway forming.
Okay, real scenario. You're in the middle of a conversation in English, and your brain just hits a wall. The word isn't there, the translation takes too long, and now there's this silence, and everyone is looking at you.
Oh, yes, I've lived that. That moment of silence that feels like it lasts 100 years. So what do we do? Because the worst thing is when people freeze and then just give up entirely.
Okay, first strategy. Have your buy time phrases ready. These are chunks that give your brain a few extra seconds to find what it needs. That's a good question. Let me think about that for a second. How do I put this? These are completely natural. Native speakers say them too.
And they make you sound more thoughtful, not less confident. Like, that's a good question. Let me think about that. That sounds like someone who takes conversations seriously, not someone who doesn't know the language.
Second strategy, if you can't find a word, describe around it. Don't freeze. Describe. The thing you use to open wine instead of corkscrew. The feeling when you're embarrassed, but also kind of find it funny instead of mortified. Keep talking. The conversation continues.
Oh, wow, that's so liberating, because it means you're never truly stuck. You might not have the exact word, but you can always describe the concept. And honestly, sometimes the description is more interesting than the word anyway.
Third, and this is the mental one, accept that silence is okay. In English conversations, a 2-second pause is normal. You don't have to fill every millisecond. Take a breath, let your brain work, then speak.
And the panic is the problem, right? The moment you panic, everything goes. So training yourself to be comfortable with a tiny pause, that's its own kind of English practice.
And fourth, keep moving forward. Even if you use the wrong word, keep going. Correct yourself smoothly. I meant to say I had been, and keep going. Don't stop, don't apologize, just keep the flow.
Because fluency isn't perfection. Fluency is flow, even with some bumps, even with corrections. The goal is never to be perfectly grammatical. The goal is to be understood and to keep connecting.
Okay, Lucas, I want to talk about something that I think is the deepest layer of this whole question.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
People who think naturally in English, they don't think of English as a foreign language they're performing in. They think of it as another home, another version of themselves. They've fallen a little bit in love with the language.
Oh, wow, Mizu. That's actually really beautiful. And I think it's true. When you enjoy the language, when you find it fun, when you're curious about it, you stop fighting it. You start flowing with it.
So find the English that you love. Don't force yourself to listen to boring content because someone said it's good for learning. Find the podcasts that make you laugh, the shows you actually care about, the music that moves you. Consume that in English.
Because enjoyment is learning. If your brain is happy, it absorbs more. It remembers more. The best English learners I know are the ones who genuinely enjoy English content, not the ones grinding through grammar worksheets.
And finally, and this might sound philosophical, but stay with me. When you start thinking in English, you're not losing your identity. You're gaining one more voice inside you, a new way to see the world. That is one of the most beautiful things about language.
Mizu, I love that. Because I think a lot of learners have this fear. If I think in English, am I losing who I am? And the answer is no, you're becoming more. Okay, Go English Challenge time. This one is about action, not knowledge.
Your challenge this week? 3 things. 1, tomorrow morning, narrate your first 10 minutes in English in your head. Just do it. 2, pick 5 chunks from today. That makes sense. Let me think about that. To be honest, I was wondering if, and it turns out, and use them in a real conversation this week.
And 3, drop a comment below telling us, what language does your inner voice still speak in? Is it fully your native language, or has English started sneaking in? We want to know. We read every single one.
Seriously, comment below because seeing your answer will keep you accountable, and it helps us understand where you are in your journey.
All right, let's land this. Thinking in English is not a talent. It's not something you're born with. It's a habit, a set of new pathways in your brain that you build. One morning narration, one chunk, one untranslated moment at a time.
And it starts small. It starts with, I am making coffee in your head. And one day you realize you just had an entire conversation in English and you never once stopped to translate. That day will come, and it's a beautiful feeling.
If today's episode helped you or gave you one new idea, please give it a like. It means so much to us. And share it with someone in your life who's learning English. One share can completely change someone's approach.
And subscribe to Go English if you haven't already. Real conversations, real English, every week. No boring textbook stuff, just us talking, laughing, and helping you actually use the language. Okay.
Click the video at the end of the screen right now to jump to that next lesson. It's already there, waiting for you. Don't let it sit there alone. Click it.
Take care, everyone. Keep going. And remember, every time you think even one small thought in English today, that's a win. See you next lesson.
Bye, everyone. Go think in English.